Hi, it's the 16th of September 2018 at 11:20 a.m. I'm just going to come straight out and say this. I think the world is becoming a dangerous place, particularly for men. I think we have to be very careful what we say on here. I've had experience before where feminists have come after me and they've listed out a whole bunch of points of things that I've said. Okay, this. And I said, oh my God, you keep a list. And she said, no, just remember. Now that's just for me. All right, I'm the content creator, and that was a wake up call for me. I just thought, yeah, okay, be careful here, Bob, because hate speech and hate crimes are a thing of the future. Okay, unfortunately, the world may magically change tomorrow. I'm not betting on it. So, when I say things about narcissism, and I'm pointing at narcissism now, okay? And I actually believe it. I think that's the problem. I think that's and all the other areas around, I just call it, broadly speaking, narcissism. And I'm saying the problem is that it's out of control, and it's been allowed to get out of control. And I'm doing that because if they come to talk to me, I can say, no, I don't hate women, I hate narcissism. And I'll stand here and say that. And I don't like alcoholism either. And I put them in the same boat. What are they going to say to me? What can they, are they going to defend mental illness? I doubt it. But so long as I don't, and I would suggest you guys don't do it either. All right, I would suggest you find a new way to go, because they'll come after you in comments. Once they've taken out all the content creators, they'll come after you guys as well. Okay, you think you're all anonymous and what have you and hiding behind a fake nick, forget it. They'll find it. They'll get you. And we'll all end up in re-education camps, sitting there drinking coffee together and trying not to make too many jokes about the whole situation, because it won't be funny. And if we don't learn then, they'll take it a step further. And that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. I'll say that now, and I won't be able to say that just even a few months from now. But now I can say. So I know a lot of you don't like it when I'm sort of saying, no, the problem, I'm deflecting from the person. It seems that younger guys want this. Younger guys want to blame the women themselves, the people themselves. Older guys tend to be more accepting of what I'm saying, that it's actually narcissism. They've been through the mill. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But they have they've seen a greater picture of it. And this actually makes me think of a request that Discover Yourself, Tony, made a few weeks back. He said, I'd like to know what it was like before it all went to shit. And I told him then, I said, no, I'll just talk about it as it becomes, as I'm aware of it and something, because I really couldn't do a half-hour video on it, and do it any sort of justice, because it's strange. It's hard to explain, but for some reason after yesterday's video, and also this guy, I can't remember his name, the one that's being, charged with sexual harassment at high school. Yeah, this will try and illustrate to you the difference between now and back then. All right. Back then, back in 1970, if anybody made such a ridiculous accusation as that, it just would not see the light of day. It would not hit the news, because whoever was telling you that would be considered a total idiot. It would, even the most basic of morons would look at it and think, you're talking about something that may or may not have happened. What was it, 20 years ago? And something that he thought, and the woman is remaining anonymous. I'm hardly surprised. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was made up by a bot. But it's just this is that just would not have happened in 1970 at all. It would be considered ludicrous. People would look at it and say, what a stupid thing. There's just no evidence. You can't prove it. It was at high school, for God's sake. And it was, it was vague as to actually what happened. I mean, and if we're going to have in that world, if we've got that happening, I mean, what are they going to do to us? Well, you've written. Look at some of your comments. You've actually, you're signing your death warrant almost. And I can do the same thing up here. If I say the wrong thing and do the wrong thing, yeah, I'm putting a huge target. Yeah, kill me. And try and be a little mindful of that. But not only of me. Think about yourself. Don't think for one moment that you're safe, because you're not. You don't think that they can trace you via your IP address? No, forget it. Think again. It'll take them all of about half a second, and they've got you. And your whole history, bang, 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 deep search, bang, just comes up with everything about you from that IP address. So I'm suggesting, yeah, we get a bit smarter about it. We can say all the same things. We can have all the same things if we talk about the mental illness. Whereas, then when they knock on your door, you say, no, I don't hate women. No, I've got friends that are women. No, I just can't stand the narcissism. It's awful. Why do you like it? Do you? People, lying and being deceptive, and it's terrible what it's doing. No, it's like alcoholism. Awful. Do you like alcoholism too? What are they going to say to you? If you actually have made derogatory comments toward women, yep, they've got you. They've nailed you. Now look, if you go back into my comments, I make a lot of responses to comments. I've probably said things that they can probably handle with it, but I have to be careful from now on. I've seen too much. We saw AJ get deplatformed. We're seeing other people get deplatformed. It's. Don't think you're living in some sort of old world, because it's a new world. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I don't think it, but and I think. A lot of you say I just have nothing to do with women, which is probably the best way, but I don't know how successful that's going to be either. Because I think, in time, you could find yourself ostracised from all sorts of places and situations because of your having nothing to do with women. So what I'm trying to suggest to you is that, particularly for the younger ones, you younger guys, I think there's a lot to be learned from understanding about narcissism. Okay? It'll protect you. This is why I say things like, it's not your money that they want. You're all saying, they just want money and resources. You're copying one another. Money and resources, money. Yeah, that happens in third world countries. Not necessarily in first world countries. But what they really want, all of them, is narcissistic supply. And if you're not on the lookout for it, if you don't really see what it is you hate, then you're just going to live your whole life in confusion. I'm getting comments from guys, that say, no, I disagree with you. There's nothing, about narcissistic supply. It's they want adoration. I'm saying, yeah, it's the same thing. That's what it is. And what happens is, it's I'm telling you, it's, look, this will give you an example. James Andrew gave me he asked me this morning whether I was aware of something called idealisation, devaluation, discard. That's something to do with narcissism, I'm guessing. And I said, James, I'm not aware of the terminology. I don't know, wouldn't have a clue what that is. But I bet when I look into it, and I will look into it later on today, when I look into it, yep, I'll be very well aware of exactly what it is. I just don't know the technical name for it. That's what, and this is what's fooling us all. You're hearing the word narcissism, and James, incidentally, yes, he has used the word narcissistic supply. He knows a lot about it, and why wouldn't he? He follows the one that most of us people who follow narcissism follow. A guy called Sam Vaknins. Okay, he's the guy that coined the term narcissistic abuse. Yeah, he's a smart guy, and he's got a lot to say about what's happening to narcissism at the moment. Worthwhile having a look at his videos. It is just such a pervasive, horrible mental illness. It's spread everywhere. That, if you're born in the 70s, 80s or 90s, what you've grown up with is a well-developed epidemic. You're not seeing anything normal. And the way I describe it to Discover Yourself and others, it's kind of like in 1970, narcissism was running about 50%. Let's think of it that way, bubbling away, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't good. It's never good. There's no amount of narcissism is good. It's like no amount of alcohol is really any good for you. People who drink tend to piss other people off. Narcs do the same thing, okay? And it's not in this 4% range, it's high. Okay, and then it bubbled along, and got up to the 80s, and really started to kick on a little bit. Television, movies, that sort of thing, sort of promoted the whole life. Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, Fonz, for example. Yeah, I'm wonderful. It's a promotion of narcissism, and it became funny until it became serious. And yeah, I really am cool. Yeah, we used to laugh. Yeah, like yeah, sure. Yeah, and then people actually started believing it, and it grew from there. So around about the 80s, and screaming into the 90s, my godfather. For 10 years in the 1990s, I used to go to the cinema a lot. Every time, every movie I went there, we had what is it that Simply the Best, with Tina Turner. It was a promotion for Australian Rugby League, for a football code. Simply the Best, and you could almost feel the whole audience lapping it up. And it became, yes, I'm simply the best. I'm simply the best. And it just flourished. 10 years, the same advertisement, pounded at people, young people. Seriously, 10 years of it. That's here in Australia. I don't know what's happened elsewhere, but here in Australia. So what's likely to happen to people? You tell them that they're that wonderful. They're that talented. Just nothing, So it's just going to spread everywhere and cause all sorts of problems that nobody talks about. Everybody talks about how bad the people are. The people are fine. Have a baby one day, and you tell me that baby is evil. Even at 1, 2, 3, you tell me that those children are evil. And those children can grow up to be the worst narcs ever. I know, I've got a daughter. I made one. I put my hand up. I made a narc. I had 2 children. One I treated a certain way, another one I couldn't get near. So she ended up actually normal. I'm sort of a large part of it, large part of the problem. I was all over. Love, it just blew me away. Total love. First child. Had her when old. I'm just so happy to see her. Blown away. And then the second child came along, and I couldn't devote as much, or I didn't think I should devote. I had to sort of, this idea that love, expands and what have you. My godfather, not my first daughter's eyes. No, I had deserted her, or something like that. So it was just, it had been a pretty explosive relationship up until that point, but it just got a whole lot worse. Found a whole new gear. But that's, and I don't hear many other people say I created a narc. I was part of the problem. I'm part of the problem. You can look at me. I mean, if you met my daughter, you'd probably say, you're joking, aren't you? I said, no. I mean, it's just, you do things, you try and support them, help them, encourage them, to do well at school and that sort of thing. My godfather, did she do well? Just right up there. And she'd be, cruising along on the moon going, I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for anybody that has anything to do with her. And I wish I could undo it some way. But, you would all say, she's a rotten evil bitch. She probably is. I don't know. I haven't seen her for 5 years. I haven't seen any of them for 5 years. And she might be the sweetest person you've ever met in your life, but she'll have nothing to do with me. They won't contact me. No. They made it clear, they're going to try and destroy me. That's what narcs do. If they can't control you and you won't play their game, they will try to destroy you. That's what my own family are trying to do to me. And that's what any narcissist that you meet is going to try and do to you. And that's what you hate. And that's what you're up against. And if you're looking at the people, if you're focusing all of your hate and frustration and anger at the people, other narcs are going to come after you. and you'll be re-educated, and you think your life was shit before. Wait until that happens. Honestly, you know, really, for, you know, have a look at Sam Vaknin. Yeah, he talks about what's likely to happen. He's actually predicting a dire future for it. Horrible. You know, he's saying that the whole nature of narcissism is changing now. You know, with all these people sitting in, you know, in the cinemas going, yeah, I'm simply the best, I'm wonderful. Yeah, look, and as he points out, yeah, once upon a time, it was in the realm for, you know, doctors and lawyers, high achievers. And, you know, they could probably, you know, strut around the place thinking, you know, I've put myself out, I've worked hard, you know, I'm up there, people look at me, respect me, and that sort of thing. That's where the narcissism was. But those days are gone. They're just one of the many. Now, the masses, all of this entitlement you talk about, yeah, that's yeah, because they're simply the best, and they deserve it. They don't have to do anything for it, you know. And this is where the real problem is going to be, because you're going to have, as Sam Vaknin points out, you're going to have all of these people who are simply the best, but haven't done anything and can't do anything and can't achieve anything. But they want that respect. They want that, so that will drag everybody else down. So we're going to have a whole society of people dragging one another down, and that's what you're seeing at the moment. And he says, you know, he looks at it and he says, it's awful, it's terrible, it's dangerous. And I think he's dead right. You know, it's if you can't achieve it, doesn't matter. You are wonderful in your own head, so you just drag everybody down to your level. So if somebody starts succeeding or achieving something, can't have that. So this is the socialism you're talking about. This is the cultural Marxism you're talking about. It's all promoted. I don't know whether it's some group of body of people who are doing it, or whether it's the disease itself. You know, and it's just increasingly I look at it like, you live in a town or a city, you know, build a wall around it and call it Ward B. You know, for the nut jobs, because that's who we're in there with. I mean, just look at some of the behaviour, I even see it on the channel. It's crazy. Someone a little while ago was talking about, you know, in the old people's homes and whatever, you know, where the women, you know, the women get naked or something, walk around the place, you know, and cackling. You know, yeah, that's kind of narcissism. You know, they're just batshit crazy. You know, bats in the belfry, anything like that. Yeah, it's. I can't describe it to you. It's not rational. It's not sane. It's. Look, this might give you an idea. After I separated, I said to my wife, what the hell did you put a violence order on me for? And she told me. Now, it's a very good read. She said, Bob, you were so suicidal, we did it for your own protection. I said, so in order to stop me committing suicide, you put a violence order on me so I wouldn't break the law. Yes, that's right, we had to. I said, are you for real? Had to. No, I mean, that's all right for 1 minute, 2 minutes. Try 6 months of that. And that's typical. That is not, you can't, that's not evil. That's just insanity, that's madness. That's total madness. And what it is somebody trying to get the outcome that they want. And that's, you know, because the idea with an narc is they win, they're right, yep, and everything about them is right, it can't possibly be wrong. So 1 + 1 + 1 = 24. Yeah, and if you think about that deep enough, 1 + 1 + 1 probably does equal 24. And it definitely does in their mind, because, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? It's perfectly logical. Yeah, if you're suicidal, so bad, in fact, we had to put a violence order on you. Yeah, 6 months. And it's just... And really, I'm going to talk more about how we respond to this sort of thing in future. Because I think there's no point in being angry or hating women. There's just no point. What are you achieving? Really, how's it helping you? Even if you have nothing to do romantically with them. How is that helping? Is it going to... Yes, you can be... I mean, I'm happier that I'm away. It's insane. Insanity. Going through the roof. So, it's I'm better off for it, but I still have to deal with it, even on the channel. And in future, I'll probably suggest you sort of... You don't treat them seriously. But you can't treat them seriously. I was married to this woman for 30 years and she says that to me. Sort of like, I just shook my head. And I mean, that's all basically on the they've typed it up. It's there, written record of it. Of, a really insanity. They show a bunch of, school kids, shit, look at this. They go, that's crazy. Makes no sense. Yeah, that's what we're doing. How in school you used to, you'd look at, false advertising that was, misleading or was just, crazy. Yeah, well, this is a perfect example of that. Just total insanity. I mean, these people aren't smart, but they were told to, probably, and I've had comments on the, on the channel just yesterday. And people in my situation, and I'd say that it happened to them. I didn't ask, but it probably happened to them at the same time. And I remember it was just a big wave, and that's what. So everything was designed to, to pump up the domestic violence numbers. And I've met these, the guys, and I know I've got violent bone in my body, and I've met guys in the same situation. They're in the same. Yeah, they're killing normal, everyday, average people. There's nothing wrong. These are guys that are just... there was one guy here, he had a emphysema, an oxygen bottle. He could barely breathe. Yeah, they slammed him with a violence order. I mean, he could barely walk. And the woman's, so violent. He was just such a violent man. And it's just garbage. But they are being allowed to get away with it. The press are talking about this guy, I keep forgetting his name, that's accused of sexual harassment 20 years ago. I mean, what a ridiculous thing to even put it. And it's only because they want a certain outcome. They want him gone. It's a political thing. But yet it's for gain. And really, we should be, as humans, we should be above that and look at a general mental health. Because if we continue this way, the whole world will just be totally insane. It's getting that way anyway. It could well be that's what leads up to a war. I say the world has to go mad to go to war, to accept that you're going probably write off the whole human race. You can't be sane doing that. So what I'm suggesting to you is, look, I actually believe that's the problem anyway. There's people are underneath it all, are people. You look at an alcoholic that you can hate when they're drunk. And when they're sober, you think, they're okay. People don't like me when I'm drunk. When I'm sober, I'm okay. But when I'm drunk, I'm not. It's because I've changed my mentality. I'm just not... I feel great inside here. But you're on the outside looking at me like, I don't like that. No, yuck. If you saw me drunk, you wouldn't want to know me. But that's the case with most drunks. Yeah, occasionally you might be, in a good mood and fun to be with when you're drunk. 9 times out of 10 you aren't. Or stoned, same thing. But this is narcissism. This is what it does. So, so you're there, you're convinced, because, and half the problem, and I'll say this over and over again, half of the problem is you can't see any physical evidence of it. It's just, I mean, you meet someone, how do you know they went to the movies a lot in the 1990s and got this head for, and then suddenly they're this sort of person. You don't know where it's coming from. They may or may not drink, they may or may not take drugs. But something, a TV they're watching or something's coming and getting them, and it's just as powerful as alcohol. It's No different. But I'll stress again, this is what I think we really should start looking at. And actually, yep. And if you want to debate, whether it's human nature or some sort of mental illness, yeah, fine, we can talk about it. I've been talking about it for pretty much ever since the start of the channel. Particularly with younger guys, you see it as human nature. Us older guys see it as something is wrong. Yeah, we see it as mental illness. I'm telling you, if narcissism went, you would not know the people, you wouldn't know the planet. We would have empathy for one another, we'd have compassion, war would stop. You just don't want to kill people. You think, no, I don't want to be killed and bombed. I think you'd start thinking about other people. And you think, no, what are we doing killing people? But there's a lot of money, a lot of profit to be made from killing people. And, very few people are doing very well at a lot of other people's expense. And to do that, they need you on side. They need you to agree with them. So to do that, they have no compassion, no empathy. So therefore, they don't want you having any compassion and empathy, because then they won't be allowed to have their wars and make a fortune. That's what it is. It's people at the top of the food chain have a vested interest to make sure that people further down the line are as narcissistic as they are. It serves their purpose. And, scattered throughout the whole social network, they've got a whole bunch of henchmen that are there to make sure they can keep society glued together. Those henchmen are having a hard time lately because it's just falling to pieces more and more and more. It's fragmenting, it's breaking up, the whole thing's breaking up. So in the end there won't be any West at all. We all know that. It's already disintegrating. So the arms manufacturers, that sort of thing, yeah, they'll be just taken out and shot. I'd say, I don't know what'll happen. It'll be some time before it does happen. But I'm going to close off now and say, look, just think of your own security, your own safety. I have to think of mine. I think I need to talk and be there for guys that have been through what I've been through, and for you younger guys to try and tell you what used to be to what is now, so you've got an idea that what's happening today just would not have happened back in the 1970s. It's nothing to do with technology, nothing to do with anything. It's just it's what we've our changed mind into what we find acceptable. It would have been deemed extremely unacceptable in 1970, and would have been ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. People would have laughed outright. Yeah, so that's what we're seeing. That's the change, and I'll try and do more of this, Tony, to sort of, as I see things, I think, yeah, that wouldn't have happened back then, and to try and give you a sort of a point of reference, because I can understand where you're from. You've grown up into, you've been born and grown up in a period of, oh look, it's in exponential growth. Yeah, so that's why you younger guys are saying, oh, women are bad, they're evil. Yeah, they're not. It's the disease that's been spread everywhere. That's what's evil, not the actual people themselves. People, you take that off and they're lovely. I don't know how we could ever get them off. I don't think we will. But hopefully you'll see that, and you won't believe the people. They're nothing like you're seeing today. It'll be a whole new world. But in the meantime, I'd say it's going to get worse, unfortunately. Sam Vaknin is the one he's really quite concerned with what's happening. And he's been observing, he'll tell you, he's been observing it for over 20 years. It's his whole life, it's his passion. Yeah. He was actually a narcissist himself. Managed to realise what he was, and he's now got that ability to stand back and look at it. Anyway, it's been good talking to you, and I shall talk to you again shortly. Bye.